Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick update and an apology before we started today's video. I'm sorry that it's been taking me so long to do Resident Evil. I have been working on many different things. I'm doing a big ass writing project is what's going on here. And what I'm doing is a massive spreadsheet on about 150 characters of mine. And I'm hoping it will lead to other ideas being fully completed, documented, and ready to go for when I'm inevitably ready to make them possibly into video games. Assuming I could ever find a team who could program, because I can't program worth a crap. But I've been working on that a lot lately, and I apologize that it's been kind of interrupting my other things, like playing video games. Yeah! But I am working on Resident Evil as well as Crash Bandicoot 2, and I'm working on a couple of ideas and projects for Month of Mario, aka March. So expect at least 2 Mario-based videos then, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. If you're really lucky, 4. Ha 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 ha! But that's why I've been busy, and I apologize like this review has taken this long to come out. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is a Game Boy Advance game, and the main game to show up after Kirby 64. Actually, this game shows up after Kirby's Adventure Remake, Nightmare in Dreamland, also hosted by the Game Boy Advance. This also comes after the spin-off Kirby's Air Ride. Air Ride is the last console game until Kirby's Epic Yarn, while Kirby would make a decent home on Nintendo's handheld lineup for some time. This isn't too shocking. While Kirby has had a healthy amount of console spotlight, Kirby came into existence on the Game Boy after all. However, as awesome as the Game Boy Advance was, I often neglected it for console releases. So many Game Boy Advance games I missed out on. Not only Kirby games, but Minish Cap, Mario & Luigi, Mario Kart, Sonic, and a few other series I thought of trying like Metroid or Final Fantasy. Still, this game was a Nintendo franchise that was heavily advertised. So naturally, I was excited about an open-ended Kirby game. It looked really good, but the more I heard about it over the years on YouTube, the more I became kind of worried. One of the Kirby games I wanted to play the most? Yeah, a lot of people seem to not like this game as much as some of the other games, pitching it fairly low on the Kirby scale. Which doesn't necessarily mean bad, but definitely not the greatest. Kirby games are often never seen as bad, even when on the lower end of the scale comparing it to other Kirby games, so there is that. This is one of the Kirby games I was most eager to try, both excited and worried about how I'd experience this game. So let's dig in and start this up. While this was originally on the Game Boy Advance, there was a decent port on the Wii U, so let's boot that up and let's take on Dark Meta Knight! So the story begins with Meta Knight suddenly attacking Kirby. Just out of nowhere, Meta Knight is a villain, but this isn't too awfully shocking. Meta Knight is, at times, a villain to Kirby, so this can be seen as normal, but Meta Knight also isn't known for attacking dishonorably. Naturally, due to Kirby being damn near immortal, Kirby just splits into more Kirbys, and the group of Kirby take off into the mirror after who they think is Meta Knight. Meta Knight runs into the big mirror as Kirby, and Kirby follow and witness Meta Knight fight himself and defeat himself. With Meta Knight sealed in the big mirror, his dark copy slices the mirror into pieces and spreads the amazing mirror to a bunch of mirror minions. Kirby, of course, tries to get them back and help Meta Knight, even going up against Dark Meta Knight and some others. Eventually, Kirby finds the main menace of the gang, Dark Matter. Oh, no wait, sorry. I mean Dark Mind. Dark Mind is the mirror version of Dark Matter and Nightmare. Remember Dark Matter using a swordsman persona in Dreamland 2? Dark Mind kinda does that with the mirror version of Nightmare. Savvy? Savvy. Regardless, after Dark Meta Knight and Dark Mind are defeated, Dark Kirby, who is only opposite in how vulnerable he was compared, decides to watch over the place. This story is incredibly simple, but I like it. It works well with Kirby lore and works well with repurposing Kirby characters into fan-favorite mirror versions. Yeah, this game is a trip. Has nobody else noticed that all the boss fights look like alternate versions of other Kirby boss fights? Gobbler the Shark is similar in attacks to Fatty Whale. Molly kinda looks like a non-robot version of Heavy Mole, though later on there's a female version too. King Golem is the rock form of Wispy Woods. Dark Mind is a mix of Dark Matter and Nightmare. Master and Crazy Hands are like Wham Bam Rock. I had to look up Kirby characters for the Mega Titan, but fighting him in a castle, I'm pretty convinced he's basically the Meta Knight version of Lololo and Lalala. This game's attention to charming details is amazing, pulling from a lot of Kirby's former villains while still working on making things original enough. Plus, I love the art style of Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland, so this game being built on the same engine keeps things looking great for the handheld. Now for the music. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of this sounds awfully familiar to me for a game that I'm very unfamiliar with. Not sure if some of the beats are pulled from other games or what happened there. Regardless, some of the music I'm not familiar with. It isn't bad either, but nothing I'd listen to regularly. Notable tracks, though, do include the Area 9 tune, the boss tracks that plays, especially when fighting Dark Meta Knight. Like I said, it isn't bad, it gets the job done at the end of the day, but I would like to say that compared to other soundtracks, it's just lacking a bit. So, switching things over to the gameplay section, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is incredibly fun with one major issue. This runs on the same engine as Nightmare in Dreamland. A lot of the abilities Kirby can get are directly from Nightmare in Dreamland, while 6 of them are brand new. However, some of these abilities have more moves now. I'm not entirely sure if this was the case in Nightmare in Dreamland. It's been a few years since playing that game, and I've only played it once. But Kirby's Adventure didn't have this. This obviously takes a page from Kirby Superstar. This allows certain abilities to be more versatile than others, which are built with one move in mind. This is awesome, but let's talk about the holdover from Nightmare in Dreamland. You lose your copy ability in one hit. Man, I thought I was done with that from Kirby's Adventure. Dang, this is kind of rough now. In the previous game, the abilities only had 1 or 2 moves associated with them. Now that some of these moves have expanded abilities, this makes things really rough when you lose an ability for a reason you feel that isn't even your fault. It is super easy to be sucker punched by something flying in from off screen. This makes using the new powers a little tricky too. I ended up not using them much because I already didn't know how to utilize them. You have Cupid powers, which, it allows you to fly a lot worse and use arrows, which miss all the dang time. A missile power-up, which worked until it randomly didn't in one room. And Mini, which is for light puzzle solving. I hate Mini power-ups, by the way. Kirby, then Mario. Nope. It's for light puzzle solving, but ends up being a D power-up rather than a power-up. Anyway, those all kind of suck, and not just because of, Kirby. But magic is kind of interesting. Pulling a new power-up or lives out of a hat. I guess that's neat. No, the new abilities aren't great, but the rarest one in the game is actually awesome and makes up for some of this. The Smash ability. Slay a specific mini-boss, eat him, and you unlock all of Kirby's special moves from Smash Bros. Hell yes. This is awesome until you get hit again. Oops. The older abilities being improved is a good move, but the newer abilities not being great, and the one hit and you lose the ability really does hurt the game. And it probably wouldn't have hurt the game as much if the level design was inspired around these mechanics. Oh yeah, let's get into the open world portion of this game, which is terrible. This isn't a bad idea. Something like Milky Way Wishes, which you find power-ups and keep them permanently, would have really worked here. However, this isn't a Metrovania-style game. This is a platformer with one-hit power-up loss with a Metrovania-style map. It doesn't work. The level design clashes so hard with the gameplay that this will be the most frustrating issue you have to deal with. You see an obstacle that you need a power-up or ability to deal with. Okay, cool. Now leave the room, find the ability, bring it back. It's a simple concept. The issue is that with the way enemies respawn, which is instantly as soon as their area is slightly off camera, this suddenly becomes really difficult. Remember, you can't get hit. If you do, you have to scramble to get the ability back before it's gone forever. Beware of inhaling other enemies or even other Kirbys nearby. Oh yeah, the 3 other Kirbys. Well, when Kirby was split up, the other colored Kirby characters wander the map on their own. If you are playing as a multiplayer game, good luck with that today. I mean, they're basically co-op buddies. But when that isn't happening, these are just NPCs that may actually help you or may make things worse. You can call them, assuming your cell phone has battery, something really easy to find, mind you, and they will attack anything nearby. Most likely, though, you'll find them wandering randomly through stages, not really doing much. However, they can steal your abilities. I had them help me defeat this mini-boss, just so I could get the hammer power-up once, and the little green Kirby devoured the mini-boss so damn quickly, I didn't even get a chance to grab it. Hell, I didn't even know what was happening. Oops, I guess I'm not exploring the area I wanted to. Ass. Anyway, that isn't the only issue with the open map. See, the map is mostly open world. There are plenty of mirrored doors that are just straight one-way doors. Enter and you don't get to go back. Not the biggest deal, right? Here's the issue. Each area has several exits and one boss fight. You reach the end of the game, you have to take on every boss fight. That sounds easy enough, but why are there also exits? That's where exploration can get annoying. You enter a door hoping it leads to the boss fight, but oops, it's a one-way door leading to an exit instead. You reach the exit, get a few lives and health pickups from a minigame it plays. Now if you didn't open up a shortcut, your ass gets to redo the entire area. Health and lives are also really common in most areas, so this can be seen as somewhat pointless padding to annoy and frustrate if an area is giving you hell. Don't worry, the game isn't that difficult. But so far, it is the most difficult Kirby game when you're considering the base game, not hard modes or anything like that. So now you're trying to find your way. You're trying to dodge as much as you can, but you enter into a door that's accidentally a linear pathway and totally optional. Oops, now you have to exit the level just to re-enter it again. You have to go back. Shortcuts will help with this a little. Find one, and you open a path leading from the starting area or another safe room into that area. And then that area will lead to the starting room. This helps, but it doesn't solve the major issue here. This, compounded with the gameplay issues, makes for a very, very frustrating clash of genres. It isn't all bad though. The boss fights are actually really good. Sometimes a little challenging, but really good. Except Wiz, I kind of forgot he existed. He's just a magic version of Paint Roller, but I forgot he exists because, yeah. I forgot Paint Roller exists too. Oops. Still, the fight with Dark Meta Knight, Master Hand, and Crazy Hand, and the Mega Titan are all great. Doesn't make up for trying to find these guys, though. Maybe if the map system was better implemented? Oh yeah, the maps. If you don't have one on the map screen just turns into visual noise. It clears up with a proper map of each area, of course, but since you won't know where to look for these either, don't be shocked if it takes a while for you to properly navigate the game. And yes, you find maps in treasure chests. They are technically optional, but super useful, just like the heart containers. They give you more health. The other treasures are pretty useless, all things considered. Fun rewards for your exploration, but nothing more. That's actually fine by me. If you want to gun for the bosses first, most of the treasures aren't super helpful for that. If you do find treasures, though, you get music and different colors for Kirby, or extra lives. Yeah, that happens too. Still, seek these out, as you never know when you might find a map or a heart container, which is indeed useful. Or don't, and wait for the end of the game. The ability you get after you beat the final boss, Dark Mind, is called Master, which is just Meta Knight's sword, but after you beat the boss, you can use Master in the basic gameplay too. This ability can be used to cheese every puzzle in the game, by the way, does massive damage, and is easier to retrieve than regular abilities when you lose them. That's actually awesome. Look, overall, this game is actually good. Like I said, even lesser Kirby games are often considered rather decent time overall. Yes, there are decent-sized flaws in the gameplay and level design, but the gameplay is mostly solid and everything else is great for a Kirby game. The level design is horridly flawed though, with only boss fights being well designed, and the music works but isn't the greatest OST for the pink puffball. Still, solid and simple writing, the bad guys and settings look great, and the secrets are fun to find and reward you for exploration. That's a good thing, although some of them are almost necessary, but that's beside the point. So yeah, I'd say it's a good game overall. It took a risk, which didn't pay off, and the rest of the game is pretty solid but a simple platformer. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror gets a 7 out of 10. The next 2 games I'm working on are Crash Bandicoot 2 and Resident Evil HD. Hopefully finished before March. Then, I go back to Mario for a bit. If you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for live updates on videos. Take care, my minions, and I'll see you next time.